Good afternoon and happy Thursday to all of your sunshiny faces, guys. I got attacked by mosquitoes. Honestly, guys, I went outside yesterday during the day to water the plants during the day, and I was watering the flowers and stuff like that, a handful of them, and I got like 3 or 4 mosquito bites yesterday. And then today I got another, I think like 2 or 3 on top of it, guys, which is ridiculous. Like yesterday during the day I got mosquito bites, which is normally like the mosquitoes tend to come out more like in the afternoon and stuff like that, like, you know, when it gets later out. Because it'd be like at football practice, like the beginning of football practice would normally be completely fine, but then at the end, once the sun had started going down and stuff like that, that's when you start getting like completely just demolished by mosquitoes. But yeah, so I don't even really know. It's just been so humid out and so hot these last couple days that it's just been ridiculous. So I've been like trying not to itch, but it's on the back of my leg and it's like I can't even sit down without it like itching. Oh my gosh, guys, it's driving me absolutely insane. That's the one that's the worst right now. It's the one on the like back of my leg. Today it was 90 degrees out and the humidity was so horrible, guys. It was a high of 90 today. And like 90 low 90s or something like that. Oh my gosh, guys, my leg is itching me like crazy. Anyways, though, so today it was a high of like 90 degrees and the humidity was so horrible, guys. It was so thick. It was just like sitting outside was so absolutely, it was nasty out. We went to the football game, guys, the freshman football game. And I brought my water bottle with me. I drank the entire thing while I was there. Plus, Jack went and filled it up for me again at the water fountain. I drank 2 bottles of water just sitting outside today. Literally, I was sitting in the shade too. We were sitting in the shade of like the bleachers, which was pretty nice. It was so ridiculously hot out. I could not guzzle down enough water today. It was so hot. But yeah, so we ended up going to the freshman football game, guys, and they won. The final was 28-0, guys. They had a shutout game, which was amazing. Now, this team, again, I guess wasn't very good. They hadn't won a game either yet, and from kind of what it looked like, we were pretty dominant. But the thing was, like my dad was saying too, he ended up moving a couple kids around, and we got a couple kids back that were out from injuries and stuff like that, and I think maybe not. I was going to say maybe some of them are out for grades, but I think they're getting some of the kids back for grades next week as well, and they had like no injuries this week, which was awesome. So, yeah, but they got some of the kids back. Those kids that they got back, they were able to then move some of the kids that they had playing like in other positions around and stuff like that, guys. The one kid that I coached football for 4 years, he had 3 of the 4 touchdowns today, which was like phenomenal. It was all 3 passes, and he ended up catching 3 of them, and they ran 1 touchdown in and it was one of the kids that I coached last year who ended up running that in. And then they ended up they went for 2-point conversions on all of them, just because normally I don't know, it's weird because like our freshmen have a really good field goal kicker, and I don't know why they don't use him, but they like, it's not super common, I feel like, at like high school levels. Well, like at least in our division, we don't kick a lot of field goals. We didn't even have a field goal unit all 4 of Matthew's years up until last year, and that's because the brother of one of the kids that was our field goal kicker last year, who's on a freshman this year, his brother is also really good like field goal kicker too, and so they both like practice all the time. And my dad coached him and then coached his brother, who's the freshman now this year, that I also coached last year. And so they didn't have a field goal unit up until last year when this kid was a freshman. And they had like 3 freshmen. I think that was actually the game I told you guys where the freshmen actually kind of won them the game, and it wasn't even on the field goal kick. It was actually because the snap was bad, and so they ended up actually passing it into the end zone. That was one of the ones. But anyways, long story short, yeah, so they ended up going for the 2-point conversions on all 4 of the extra, or all 4 for all 4 of the extra points. So they ended up only getting 2 of those, so it was 28-0. Even though the referee kept trying to argue with them, saying it was 30-0, but it wasn't. It was 28-0. So long story short, though, guys, almost every offensive possession they had the ball. I think with the exception of maybe 2, they ended up scoring on all of them. Last offensive possession, I know, maybe the last 2 offensive possessions that they had, they just were like running the ball, and stuff like that, just to try and waste down the clock. So it was a really good game. It was really competitive. The quarterback, too, that is the freshman quarterback, is one of the kids that I coached for 2 years also. It was a really good game, this game, and like I said, I'm happy. I feel like there's always a turning point. Matthews, the year they won the Super Bowl, they had like a really horrible season up to this one point, and they played this one team and ended up winning by like a pretty big margin, and it was like kind of what got their season going. And then after that, they ended up going on and they won the Super Bowl that year. And like my dad said, that was kind of the turning point when everything started to click for them, and I felt like they get like their confidence and stuff like that. And sometimes I feel like you need like one really good football game where it's just really good football and stuff like that. Last year for us was the game that the kids ended up playing in like 100-degree heat last year, which was ridiculous, honestly, guys. But that was our turning point, I feel like, for last year too, with all these what were freshmen, most of them that played with us last year, and it was like kind of like that turning point. And I don't even know that we ended up winning any other games after that, but it was just like we ended up actually playing harder teams, I think, going on after that, but they were just so focused, and like I felt like that was just the turning point for them. Like it wasn't like an easy, game and stuff like that, and this game really wasn't either. It was like everything that they did and executed was good. They looked good, and I told you guys yesterday too, I was like, my dad said that their practices have been really good lately and stuff like that, and they did do conditioning 2 days this week, and like the kids actually didn't look that tired. Like it was hot, and they all needed like to put towels on their necks and stuff like that because it was so hot outside and everything, but for the most part, I mean, they looked pretty, not obviously 2 days of conditioning isn't gonna mean they're phenomenal now, but like I could kind of see a little bit of a difference, like, and I think it was just that even to the mental focus. Like one of our kids, who I was even telling you guys too, I think yesterday, like it's just mentally, like exercising and stuff like that helps you really focus, and I feel like those kids didn't have it, and so their practices weren't that good and stuff like that, and so they practiced really well this week. And like I've tried to instill over the last 4 years with those kids is like, it's about the effort that you put in practices that is going to be your outcome. And obviously they had really good practices this week from what I've heard. So I mean, and it showed out on the field. So yeah, I was just really happy that they won, and I'm happy that they're like, maybe this is their turning point. And even though my dad said they do have a couple of tougher games, not like unwinnable games, like the first 2 I think we knew were not going to be winnable games, but this week and last week's, really they should have won. I guess I meant last week, they should have won last week's game too, but the first 2 I think my dad was like, they're probably not going to win those, but the rest of them throughout the season are going to be tough games, but again, still probably winnable. I know next week's they're playing away, but they have a chance at it, and if they play like they did and they practice like they did this week, then I think they will. But I was just so happy that they got their first win, and like I think it'll keep all their spirits up, and I think that they'll getting some of the kids back too that were ineligible for grades, and I heard some of the coaches were saying that, and then also too just those kids that were out from injuries that were back, should hopefully pump up and rile up that team, and keep them going, and they can get a win next week too, which would be awesome. So I was pretty jazzed about today's game, but I just could not get over how hot it was, guys. Like I said, I could not even believe it. It's this late into September already. Like, guys, it's almost October, and I'm still in tank top and a t-shirt. But tomorrow is supposed to cool down. I think it's supposed to be like 70, mid to upper 70s as a high, but it's supposed to be really windy, so I'm hoping that tomorrow, once the sun goes down for the football game, it'll cool off a lot more, and I think it's supposed to be like 60s or something like that on Saturday. So we have the varsity game to go to tomorrow, and Matthew's gonna come home tomorrow, guys, so maybe I'll get some Matthew footage. We'll see. Yeah, football and everything like that this weekend. And I also changed my lineup too, guys, for my fantasy game, because I had two questionable players, so I ended up switching them out. So I had to get my lineup in, and it is. So I'm kind of bummed though, because I did have one of Cleveland's wide receivers, and they ended up playing tonight and they won, and he actually did get like some good points, and I'm kind of upset that I didn't end up switching it earlier, and I could have put him in. So I think it's Landry, and I think he got me like 13 or 14 points or something like that, and I was like, kind of stinks that I didn't end up fixing it earlier. Matthew sent out a group text and was like, everybody don't forget to change your lineup, and I was like, I don't even know who's playing tonight. I don't think I have anybody playing, and I did, and now I'm kind of like upset that I didn't move them earlier. I don't know how it works with like fantasy or like with normal fantasies, like when you have to get them in, but as long as like that person isn't playing in the game, up until I think the game starts, you can still move them. I don't know, like I said, if that's the same with everyone, but we are doing, and I don't know if you can change the rules either with it, or if you have to have it in by like Thursday or something like that. Matthew's like the GM or whatever they call him. I don't even know. Like that, Matthew's the head of the our fantasy league, so he made up all the rules and stuff like that, which I'm kind of bummed though, guys. I kind of wish that our fantasy football had been, we do it where it's like head to head, so we have 6 people in it, and which is me, Matthew, Jack, my dad, my mom, and Matthew's girlfriend's all in it. And so we got 6 people, and I was kind of bummed because I thought it was going to be like we go head to head against a person every week, and I kind of wanted it to be like where it's top points and stuff like that, or cumulative points for like the best throughout the whole year or something like that, or like on a weekly basis, and then like if you get that win that week or whatever, or I don't know how they do it, but yeah, like my dad was saying too, he's been in a couple fantasy leagues where it was like that, and I didn't really like this one where we had to go all up against each other, because I'm like, I lost the very first week, and then I won last week, and now this week I don't know. So yeah, we got to see what happens for this week, but I already lost out on like 13 or 14 points, so hopefully the other guys that I have in this week will do well. But I'll see you guys on tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.